impactful player of the week for the second time in 3 weeks. Is he doing anything kind of that maybe you didn't expect him to do so well 3 weeks into the year? Anything that you didn't necessarily see as much during camp or during spring camp?
I think he needs to improve like everybody else we have, but the biggest thing that he does a pretty good job of getting on track pretty quickly. I think he's a pretty quick evaluator, self-evaluator, and he can get himself on track if he, because he certainly wasn't perfect last game, but if something doesn't go right, he doesn't beat himself up. He doesn't go through some of that pouty, mopey stuff, which really drives me crazy when players do that. And then I think that he's able to get back on track really fast, which I think is an incredible strength, and also I think it rubs off on the other players.
You got a taunting penalty after one of those touchdowns. Do you kind of like your quarterback to be a little chippy out there and kind of talk back and forth with the defense and have an edge to him?
Well, I can't comment on it, but I have my own opinions about what took place there. So, I don't know. I didn't see anything take place, but I'm not commenting on any officiating. I'm just saying I didn't see anything take place.
Gordon's going to have a lot of opportunities in the passing game. UCLA allowed, I think, like 10-point-something yards per pass attempt. What do you expect out of them in this next game?
I think they're an extremely talented team. I think that I think they're an extremely talented team. I think they're better than they've been playing. I think that because I know a great deal about their players, we recruited a lot of them, and I just don't think they're playing together as well as they'd like to right now. But that can happen at any time, and it can happen overnight. And as soon as they do, they're an extremely dangerous team.
How do you like the challenge with your run defense and it's Chip Kelly. They're not running great right now, but is it something you always have to be prepared for when you're going against Chip Kelly offense?
Yeah, they'll run it and they'll mix it up, and they try to spread it out to create space of their own. They utilize it a little different than we do. They're going to run and kind of pop pass it in there some, but he's had a lot of success over the years, and nobody over there's forgotten how to coach, and I personally know that they have a good nucleus of players. So, but if they get on track and they're playing as well as they can this week, we have to be ready.
Just kind of going back to the Houston game momentarily, you guys played a very different second half, especially offensively. Was there anything extra that you saw after being able to see the film that you might have liked even more than what you saw in person?
Well, the biggest thing, we just relaxed at halftime. We went out there and everybody was highly motivated, and sometimes some of the older players, were the ones that really tried to make too much happen, and then when we relaxed and settled down, we played a lot better.
The UCLA defense just gave up over 300 yards on the ground this past week. Is that something you think you can exploit on Saturday night?
I hope so. We'll see. A lot of those were runs by the quarterback, but we'll have to just we'll try.
Chip Kelly was quoted saying if in an ideal world he would run every single play out of the wishbone. Maybe if you were playing Madden, do you have an opinion on that?
I think it's a really good offense. I think the wishbone's a really good offense. Nobody's really stopped it. As a matter of fact, when Air Force broke into it this last week, all of a sudden off they went, So, no, I think it's a great offense. I think it's a lot like our offense. It's on the ground, but, it's about distribution, everybody touching the ball and, just creating space and windows, So, yeah, I think it's a really good offense. Hopefully they don't get it installed by the time they play us.
Did you take an interest in what Chip was doing when he was at Oregon and started introducing a lot of the stuff that made them so successful? And did you steal anything from him? I know you guys run different offenses, but I know a lot of coaches take things from one another.
We were both spread guys. Not really, because we were already spreading it out, but he spreads it out to run it, and like I say, screens and quick little passes, and then we spread it out to throw it. Typically we'd throw it, and then I will say this: he got a lot of people going fast. A lot of people started doing that tempo stuff. We stayed about the same. Our notions on tempo came quite a ways back. The Buffalo Bills used to always, when Jim Kelly was there, they always, they wouldn't huddle, and they were kind of quick without hurrying, quicker than most teams, but it wasn't 2 minute, but it was faster than huddling, and we kind of stuck with that, to be honest with you. But he got a lot of people hurrying up. I think Chip Kelly impacted defenses more than he did our offense, but he definitely had an impact on some offenses.
Had you guys met before? You guys were both in the same conference and started going to the conference meetings together and media day and whatnot before then?
Well, yeah, but we weren't real familiar with one another. Matt, I think, would be about the extent of it.
This time last week we were asking you about the short week. Now we get to ask you about the long week. How much does it help just having that extra day to prepare?
Not much, because we get back at 5 a.m. from the Houston game, and so Saturday's pretty well spent recovering, So on the front end of the week, you race into all your meetings and preparation, and then you get back at 5 a.m, and so really, I think our guys caught up on sleep, stuff like that, and then it was kind of Sunday as usual.
Northern Colorado ran the ball a lot. Houston ran the ball a lot. You're about to play another team that runs the ball a pretty decent amount. What can you carry over from the last two games that you can use in this one?
Play like we did the second half of the Houston game, other than the last drive.
I think conference play now, finally 3-0. Does that give you guys any extra confidence rather than being a 2-1 or 1-2?
I guess the biggest thing that I feel good about is I felt like we've gotten a week better each week. I think each week we've improved, and so that's the biggest thing. So we have to get a week better this week. If we can take another step this week, I think that'd be huge.
UCLA's been turning over the ball a pretty decent amount through their first three games. What have you been telling your defense going into that matchup?
Well, we've been getting turnovers. We need to keep that up, though. I think we lead the conference in turnover ratio, so we need to keep getting turnovers and keep taking care of the football.
Any questions on the phone line for Coach Leach?
Coach Leach, this is Ben Bolch with the Los Angeles Times. A question for you about the Chip Kelly blur offense from Oregon. Do you think that could still work in the Pac-12 in 2019?
Yeah, I think elements of it still are. I think people have borrowed plays from it and things like that. So I think there's portions of it that still are. I also think sometimes you get kind of, I don't know what a perfect storm is, but whatever that is, you get, the right quarterback, the right, really the whole team just gets in a rhythm, everybody's in a rhythm and simultaneously doing things, and the play of one complements the play of another, and you capture it for a period of time. I can't say that people have really quite done that, but I do think people have borrowed some elements of his offense, and it's benefited them.
Another question for you. I'm a big fan of Henry Winkler, but I've not seen The Water Boy, so I was wondering with your tweet about the Dorian fakes to the left, can you tell me what that was about?
Well, you have to see the movie. I don't want to wreck the movie, and I like the movie, don't love the movie, but a lot of people in football love the movie, and football movies under the best of circumstances are very difficult. I think the best one is Friday Night Lights, and the difficulty, of course, is because you got 12 people or 11 people running 11 different directions, and then 22 ultimately if there's a defense on the field and they're running around with helmets on, so you can't even see their faces, so it's difficult to really tell the story in a slow, intimate fashion. However, Waterboy is certainly, I would say it's the thinking man's football movie of the ages, and really I think everybody should watch it.
So that wasn't a reference to Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the phone line for Coach?
Yeah, Matt Calkins. Matt Calkins with the Seattle Times. Coach, there's a bill in California that got to the governor's desk that basically would allow college athletes to get paid for their likeness, endorsements, and whatnot. Have you given any thoughts, or do you have any thoughts on what that might mean for college sports, or just that proposal in general?
Well, I think there's a lot of stuff, and I'll let the lawyers kind of flesh that out. But I do think if everybody's not given the, if everybody's not, in other words, if you create a recruiting advantage beyond what already exists, I think it's going to be very difficult. I think there'll be a huge imbalance, and you'll destroy college football, and I think they ought to be very careful of that. And the other thing, if you can do stuff like that, I mean, surely if if you don't like the way the guy's portraying something, you should be able to cut him on the spot pretty much, I would think. And then, of course, then are we going to have a draft? Then are we going to have trading? Then are we going to have free agency? I mean, how far does all this stuff go? So I think we ought to be careful with that. Or maybe we ought to just have minor league football and go ahead and have minor league football, and then those guys can do whatever they want, But the state of California has trouble keeping their streets clean right now, so my thought is that they probably ought to focus on that. That's just one guy's opinion, and I'm sure I'm probably wrong. But but at the rate that California is handling their infrastructure and some of their other problems, I think that we'll see how they do with that before. I really think it would be that beneficial for the legislature of California to enter into college football. And if you see benefits to them entering into college football, I'd love to hear, because they seem to be determined to do it.
Thank you, Coach. Hey, Coach, Scott Hansen of the Seattle Times. I was curious, how confident were you that your team would bounce back and play a better second half last week?
I was pretty confident, I mean, well, there's two things. One, this isn't really a business for realistic people to begin with. Otherwise, you don't achieve at a high level, So, but the other thing is we were a very dedicated group. We'd worked extremely hard, and we were a team that things weren't unfolding quite our way, but we were pushing hard, trying hard. We just weren't a very synchronized group, and well, as we, I did feel like if we played together and were synchronized, that we'd be awfully tough to stop, and they'd have a tough time moving the ball. And then it turned out that was the case.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the phone? Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Hi, this is Justine Nguyen with the LA Daily News. UCLA got familiar in the second year under Chip Kelly, and they've struggled a little bit to start. What challenges do you remember when you took over this job at Washington State, and how did you handle some of those, trying to kind of build your program?
That was tough because, and of course, we have a bunch of reporters here that are knowledgeable and know more about the history of Washington State than I do in a lot of instances. But Washington State had been to a bowl in how many years?
67.
How many years since Washington State had been to a bowl?
2003.
So it'd been a long time, you see. And so it'd been a really long time since they'd been to a bowl, and so we did have quite a few holes to fill. One thing that I think is challenging is the mentality, just getting people that are truly committed to the work and the commitment that is necessary, because there's a point to where, if you try to win to a point and then it's not working out, things can quickly evolve to a social club. In other words, where, I don't know how to describe it, where guys don't care as much about achievement as they do everybody being happy, and the social aspects, they get more fulfillment from the social aspects, hanging out together, doing things together, than they do achieving together, because they've fallen short on the achievement thing. And and achievement's far more rewarding, but achievement takes a great deal of effort and is extremely difficult. And but the effort and the solidarity that you draw from working together extremely hard is rewarding and unforgettable. But it is hard, and so getting over that hump between social and hard and the rewards at the end, I think, is one of the toughest parts. And then so you're kind of converting one player at a time until they start converting each other, and then you can kind of duplicate your efforts a little bit.
At what point do you remember seeing that kind of start rolling along at the beginning of your program?
That's a great question, because it's kind of gradual, Now, keep in mind the hole we were in was some deeper than UCLA, and then not to mention the fact that that team. Make no mistake. I mean, as you're going down this path of singing the blues and the poor boy does good, keep in mind that virtually everybody on that roster had scholarship offers from nearly all the conference. Okay, so let's start there. But I think that it becomes gradual, and there's kind of a little spurts here and there that things get excited about. Sometimes there's cancers in your locker room. You got to eradicate those. And the thing that becomes difficult about that is sometimes those guys are talented players, and you're seeing what they can do physically. But no matter what they can do physically, the destruction they do is far greater. So you have to try to identify and get rid of people holding you back too, as well as elevating guys that are really pushing the cause and helping your effort.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions on the phone line for Coach?
Yeah, hey Coach, it's Jessamine McIntyre. I just wanted to ask about Brandon Arconato. He had back-to-back 100-plus yard games. It kind of surprised some people that he had such an emergence, and I was just wondering what he did in this offseason and camp, what kind of work he put in to kind of get to where he is right now.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think Brandon was a late developer, and I think that he because he's taller, heavier, and stronger now than he ever was, and some of those things went beyond just the off season. Now, the off season was a huge part of it, and without his work and dedication, there's no chance whatsoever he'd be where he's at. But he came as a walk-on, and he was short and skinny. And then, but he worked hard and could always catch the ball and was sort of elusive. And then continued to work, but just had such a great attitude, great team guy. And then he's just gotten better and better and better. And somewhere in there hit a little bit of a growth spurt. And then, so he's taller, thicker, and faster than he's ever been. And then, anyway, so he's playing real well. But it was quite a path, no question about it.
Thank you. And have you had a chance to speak to Gardner Minshew after his first 2 games?
We've texted back and forth, but we're all through.
Seen any of his games?
I've seen clips, because I'm always working, but I've seen clips, and then DirecTV's didn't carry it or whatever this last time, so. May have to find some entity that does carry it.
What do you think of the world picking up on just the Minshew mania, the jockstrap in the locker room story, everything about it?
Well, I hope we don't end up, because this is a conscious copycat society we have right now. Hopefully there's not a bunch of people walking the streets in Minshew jockstraps, although I imagine Gardner could have a signature line and laugh all the way to the bank with it. I think the aviators and headbands are good. But no, he's great. And then as far as the mustache, he's just great at carrying a mustache, because, you know as well as I do, there are mustaches everywhere, but his is the one that counted, you know.
Thank you, Coach.
Anything else on the phone for Coach?
Yeah, Coach Ben Bills, Los Angeles Times again. How surprised are you that UCLA is 3-12, 15 games into the Chip Kelly era?
I don't really evaluate it. I don't evaluate anything really on UCLA other than if we play them, and we haven't played them for the last 2 years, and primarily we're just trying to focus on how good we can be and how we can make our team better more than anything.
Okay, back in the room.
Right, did T. Martin show you a little bit more of what you're looking for from him Saturday? Or Friday?
Yes. Yeah, he's been playing good. The last couple games he's been playing pretty good. You know, anytime he plays fast and excited, he's pretty explosive. And I really think most of the season he has, you know.
Were you also encouraged by the play of Cosmas Quetty? And do you foresee a scenario where you don't redshirt him or Travion Brown this year?
That's difficult to say. Travion's playing real well right now, and has played a lot of snaps. Cosmas, 12 plays, 3 tackles, fumble. How about that? So that's a better percentage than anybody had, you know. Yeah, his production per amount of play is higher than anybody's on the team this last game. We bet, one thing, and we try to avoid punting, but we got to be able to punt the ball better, you know.
There was a video of you dancing in the locker room inside a huddle after the game. How do you evaluate your dance moves?
I wouldn't call that dancing. I think that was, just kind of trying to quickly appease the masses and make it go away. I've never been much of a dancer. I've been more of a walk-in-place person, depending who I wanted to impress, pretending to be interested, or else walking in place and being literally defiant as I did so. But, in PE class during, they had a square dance session, I was the guy that was sent to sit on the stairs because they couldn't dance with me in there, because I couldn't even effectively go through the motions and pretend that I was into it, And I wasn't a guy that got in trouble in PE no matter what they were doing. But no, they just said, with you go sit on the steps because we can't dance with you in here,
Anything else for Coach? Last chance on the phone for Coach?
Coach, with this being the Pac-12 opener, question for you is, if you got all 12 mascots from the conference and they met, which one would come out on top? In terms of mascots,
If they what?
if they all met, which one maybe got into a battle royale? Which one's coming out on top?
What kind of battle?
And not mascots like Butch T. Cougar, but like actual Cougs and Bruins, Huskies, and Ducks, Beavers, all that.
Well, probably the University of Montana. Well, the two best, of course, would be Montana and LSU.
What about the conference?
Our conference? That's a good question. Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that. I'm going to say the Wildcat's out. The Trojan, does he have a horse or is he on foot? Does he have a bow and arrow or just his sword? The Bruin, definitely formidable. Another bear up there at Cal. The tree, I imagine that tree's going to get chopped down. Unless we're going to go with a bird and somebody might get pecked or something, I don't know. And then the duck might lose interest and just fly away and get out of there, which may be good advice under the circumstances. The husky, no chance. The beaver, well, we'll see how long that beaver can hold his breath. The ute, again, we're back to, is he on horseback? Does he have a bow and arrow? Did he trade for a rifle? I mean, you know, because if that ute's got a rifle, there's some definite problems. And then, and you know, you'd have to get one of those Harry Potter activists to read up on how you kill a sun devil, because there's a lot of outside stuff there. Just as far as a beast alone, a buffalo's going to be pretty hard to tangle with. I mean, a buffalo's utterly outstanding. Did I leave any of them out? Well, but Butch is going to have to be clear-minded and crafty. I mean, Butch will find a way. There's no question. The Coug will find a way. Clear-minded and crafty, a combination of stay out of harm's way and attack when you get your chances or your openings.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.